Hello, my friends. We are back in Grayson County, Virginia today, and we are now going to take a tour of this amazing structure behind us. This house was built around 1880, and it was actually in Monica's family, so we're going to talk to her about it. We're going to talk about memories of this house. It is now a place where quilters can gather and talk and quilt and spend the night here. And if you stay tuned, there's also an eerie side to this house, a very interesting story that may make you go, So let's go in.
I'm Daniel Shew, the Old House Agent. I'm a real estate agent and I specialize in old and historic homes in Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee. I've dedicated my career to preserving these places while helping others discover the joy of owning a piece of our region's past. On this channel, you'll find restoration journeys, history, and honest insight into what it truly takes to bring old houses back to life. And I'm grateful to have you along for the adventure. There's a quiet bend along the New River where Wilson Creek meets the current. That meeting of waters gave this place its name, Mouth of Wilson. For much of the 19th century, this was a small agricultural crossroads in southern Grayson County. But in 1884, something changed. A woolen mill was built here, harnessing the power of Wilson Creek. With that mill, Mouth of Wilson began to transform from farmland into a working industrial village. Textiles became the economic backbone. Farmers brought wool. Workers found employment. Houses clustered near the mill. By the early 20th century, the name Fields was woven into nearly every corner of Mouth of Wilson. Under the Fields family, the enterprise expanded. There was not only the woolen mill, but a company store. Later, a power plant and dam were constructed downstream, bringing electrification to the operation in 1930. Like many ambitious rural businessmen in the 1920s, members of the Fields family entered the automobile trade. The rise of Ford dealerships across small towns reflected a national shift. Rural America was becoming mobile. Even here in Mouth of Wilson, and overlooking much of it, stood the Fields family home. A substantial Queen Anne residence that symbolized both prosperity and permanence. We'll return to that house shortly. Grayson County now encompasses nearly 432 square miles and just over 15,000 residents, spread across rolling hills and river valleys. The average home sales price here has grown steadily in recent years, reflecting increasing interest in rural properties, mountain views, and even historic homes, the very fabric of communities like Mouth of Wilson. The county's economy still reflects its agricultural roots, but it also draws outdoor recreation enthusiasts, remote workers, and families seeking a slower pace of life. For real estate buyers, Grayson County offers both deep history and a compelling modern lifestyle. This is a place where the story of yesterday continues to shape the value of today. From the mills along Wilson Creek, to the front porches of these old homes, to the market trends that define the community's future. And that brings us back to the Fields house. Not just as a relic of the past, but as part of the living tapestry of Grayson County's real estate story. Perched above the valley, the Fields house stands as a statement in wood and proportion, a confident example of Queen Anne architecture brought into these mountains. Built in the late 19th century, the house reflects a moment when rural prosperity expressed itself not in restraint, but in flourish. Projecting gables break the roofline. A corner tower rises with quiet drama. Wraparound porches soften the mass of the structure and invite both shade and conversation. Decorative brackets and trim give movement to the eaves, while bay windows push outward, catching light from every direction. This was not just a farmhouse expanded over time. It was designed with intention. The asymmetry was deliberate. a hallmark of the Queen Anne style. No flat facade, no predictable symmetry. Instead, the house reveals itself in layers. Architecturally, the house announces something important. This family was not merely participating in the life of Mount Wilson, they were shaping it. In a small industrial village, this house served as both residence and symbol. Prosperity made visible in wood, glass, and elevation. And more than a century later, its silhouette still anchors the landscape. But industry and commerce are only part of the story. At the center of it, J. Cam Fields, and the family life that unfolded alongside his business ventures. Cam Fields represented the next generation of leadership in the valley. He carried forward the woolen mill, expanded the commercial enterprises, and participated in the modernization of the community. He was bank president by his mid-20s and served on many county boards for years. But his life was also marked by personal chapters. In 1920, Cam married Ruth Phipps, and together they had a son, William Jack Fields, born in 1924. Their years together would be brief. Ruth passed away in 1932, leaving Cam a widower with a young son. Jack would grow up connected to the legacy his father was building in Mount Wilson. Later, Cam married Anna Graham Halsey. With Anna, another chapter of the Fields family story began. Together they had a daughter, Nancy Rosamond Fields, born in 1941. She grew up in the great house overlooking the valley, a house built on confidence, industry, and permanence. From those hills, she stepped into a wider world, pursuing education and life beyond Grayson County. Rosamond was a graduate of Duke University, an accomplished pianist, and a systems analyst for IBM, a job not welcoming to women at the time. And then, in 1976, far from the New River and Wilson Creek, her story took a turn that still carries questions. While in California, Rosamond disappeared at the Golden Gate Bridge. It was believed she jumped. No body was ever recovered, and that absence, that unanswered space, has lingered. In a small Appalachian community, stories do not simply end, they echo. They are remembered in small ways: a name etched in stone, an empty bedroom, a porch still overlooking the creek. The Fields family legacy includes industry, ambition, and modernization, but like many old houses and old towns, it also carries shadows, moments that resist neat conclusions, and perhaps that is part of why these places feel layered, not haunted in a theatrical sense, but heavy with memory. Today, the Fields residence lives a very different life, where once the conversation centered on wool production, power generation, and business expansion, the rooms now hum with the steady rhythm of sewing machines. The house is now known as Quiltville, a retreat center dedicated to quilting and needle arts. Purchased and restored with intention, the home has been adapted to welcome creative gatherings from across the country. Up to a dozen guests at a time come here, not to conduct business, but to create. Long tables fill former parlors. Fabric replaces ledgers. Thread replaces industry. And yet, in a quiet way, the purpose is not entirely different. There's something fitting about quilting happening in these walls. Quilting is the art of piecing fragments together to create something whole. Scraps become beauty. Separate pieces become a pattern. Memory becomes form. In many ways, the house itself is a quilt. It is stitched together from generations of experience, childhood memories, community gatherings, deep sorrow, enduring resilience, and now, new life through crafts and creativity. The wraparound porch still looks over the valley, the tower still rises above the creek, but inside, laughter, collaboration, and craft have replaced the weight of commerce. The house has not lost its relevance, it has simply changed its voice. From industrial leadership to artistic refuge, the Fields House continues to gather people, just as it has for more than a century.
So we're inside here at Quiltville, and we're with the owner, Bonnie Hunter. Bonnie, thank you. Both Monica and I are extremely excited to go through this house with you, and what you've done is incredible.
Well, thank you. I know it's a different purpose. We bought this house in 2017 with the intent of turning it into a quilters retreat center. So we run it like a quilters Airbnb, but we wanted to keep as much of this beautiful old home as original as possible. So I'd love to walk through and show you what we've done.
We are excited. Let's go.
Okay. So we're standing here in the front foyer, which is a great place to welcome everybody. I love the original light fixtures. The quilts change out quilt group by quilt group, but it's always a welcoming space to the rest of the house. I love the transom window and the side light doors there.
Yeah, they are beautiful.
Yeah, so if we come this way, this room was originally 2 rooms, and the previous owners had opened it up into one big room, and this is what makes our quilt retreats possible. We're able to have 12 quilters in one group with plenty of room to sew and to create and to chat and to visit and to laugh and to eat and to do all those things that quilters love to do, all while keeping as much of the original house intact as possible. I love the fireplaces, and with the walls exposed and with the walls removed, we are also enjoying the brick that's been exposed from what was there before. I believe this used to be the parlor originally in here.
That would explain the double doors.
That would explain there's pocket doors right here. And there's one other set of pocket doors on the other side if you want to come through. So we're standing in the dining room, and I understand this used to be the library with the possibility of perhaps a butler's pantry, which I would have loved to have seen. But the size of this dining room also makes it possible for us to seat 12 quilters at the table all at one time.
That's a long setup.
That's a long setup. This is thanks to IKEA, by the way. But the other pieces of furniture I've enjoyed collecting along the way. This one was found in a one-room schoolhouse in way out of town Idaho when we lived in Idaho, and it had I don't know how many coats of paint, and we stripped it down to the bare wood, and I just love that wood grain, so we left that.
That's great.
But I love having a place for the treadle machines and all other kinds of quilty paraphernalia.
And you've got your tower over here.
I've got my tower over here. We have items for sale for the quilters, and my published books and things like that are available to them here in the little store in the turret, which used to have a piano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how does that? How does this work here? How do people come here and stay and quilt and do workshops?
They do. We rent it like a Airbnb for groups. So they are responsible for pulling their groups together. So I don't rent one-on-one. I'm not putting one person, stranger, in with other people. So they form their own groups. They do their own cooking. We've got all the pots and pans and silverware and plates, glasses, everything, crock pots that they would need. They just need to bring their food and their fun, and they have a good time. Oh. And they'll stay a minimum of 3 nights. They can stay up to 6 nights is the maximum, because we have another group coming. But what we do is give these groups first right of refusal on their same weekend in the next calendar year. So as long as they keep coming, they've got their spot. And we've got a waiting list waiting for people to drop out, but so far they're not dropping out.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful. This part of the house was added on probably just post 1900 to 1905. This beam here would have been the outside wall of the original house, and the floorboards changed direction. So that's what gives us that idea. And this connects to what we call the hen den, or just the den if you want to follow me into there.
You have incredible floors in here. These are beautiful.
Thank you. I love how the floorboards change from area to area, so you can kind of get an idea of what was the original age of this space. So we're standing in what the oldest part of the house was. This was likely a sitting room at one time, perhaps a dining room, because the old front door is right out here in this hallway. We keep all of these mismatched comfy chairs in here available for the ladies to do their hand stitching, hand quilting. Good for a cup of coffee in the morning, some gossiping and shooting the breeze, and they each have their own task light so that they can see what they're doing. And this is a wonderful gathering space in here. We love this space.
I would say so. Nice heater here for them.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, this is very cool architecture. You can see how that used to be the front door, and these chamfered panels are really nice. And you all think that this part of the house was built around 1880 is what.
Well, that's what I was told. I was told, 1884-ish. That's what was listed with the realtor when we were first looking at it. But you think it may be older?
I think it looks quite a bit older, maybe even 1850. But that's the tricky part about Grayson County is sometimes the architecture here was behind a couple of decades. And so it may actually be an 1880 structure, and they used really old techniques on.
Yeah.
But needless, nevertheless, it's beautiful.
No, well, quilters try to keep things straight, but evidently they kind of go sideways. So I love the angles at the top of the store and how things are settled, and how they had to fix the door to fit how the floor was. So it's just a lot of fun.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got coffee stations set up for the ladies here. Most important spot of the day. Yes. You'll find a lot of conversation happening at the coffee station.
Absolutely.
And what I really love is our kitchen. The previous owners did a fantastic job on recreating this kitchen. I have no idea what it looked like before, but I know they put their heart and soul into remaking this kitchen. So it feels older, but it has all the contemporary conveniences. So we've got a commercial gas range, and we've got microwave, fridge, freezer, ice maker, dishwasher, everything that they could need, crock pots, pots and pans, serving bowls, utensils, everything. The only thing that the ladies need to add is their own food, because they know what their dietary needs are within their group. And I tell you what, one of the benefits of being the owner is that they will feed me.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'd be all about that.
They will feed me. Yeah.
That is great. Yeah, this is beautiful. And these floors are wow, they are really neat. They built up.
They did. It's slightly different, but this is why when you talk to Aaron, find out, what they did here, what they did to the kitchen, because I'd like to know. I think where these doors are is where a fireplace used to be.
I think so too.
Because upstairs there's a place in the wood floor where it's a rectangle, so that would be where the chimney
that was what
came
I was
through.
Assuming. Yes.
But I love the touches they've added in the the farm sink and everything in here. How would you guys like to go upstairs?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. As you can see, there's lots of quilty stuff everywhere. The ladies love the decor.
Oh yeah.
We're all about all quilting all the time.
This is interesting here that you can see this obviously used to be a second-story door that went out.
It probably had a porch at some time.
Yeah.
We've kept the original glass in here. So
it was a door when you were little?
To a porch? Wonderful.
Not to a porch. It's one of those doors that didn't have a porch.
Yeah.
Oh, so just kind
of
one
time it had one. Yeah.
Yeah, but not then. So this is where I was talking about that maybe the chimney came through here.
I think you're right.
Because we're right above that door to the porch there.
I think you're right. These are amazing.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, and the old photos I have of the house when it was being worked on, I think that Aaron had to rebuild the porch most of the way around.
Yeah.
So they did a fabulous job. And we love the colors that they put in here. So like the walls were already painted this color. I love the shiplap. It's just beautiful. And we fit 3 quilters per bedroom. They bring their own quilts to put on the bed. So that's why we just have white blankets right now. But it's wonderful. It's like sorority time. And they sit up and chat all night and snuggle with their quilts. And it's wonderful to have them here. We call this bedroom number 5. And it's the one bedroom that I keep for maybe a husband and wife couple that are going to stay in here. This was my bedroom set, so I also
Oh,
feel
nice.
a big connection to this room. I've got my grandmother's photographs in here and pieces that I've collected over the years, and it's just a favorite spot
It is
in
lovely.
here. Yeah. So this is the upstairs landing, and all the bedrooms on this side of the house come off of this landing, and we've got 3 really large bedrooms to share with you. Again, we're set up for 3 quilters in here, and they'll bring their own colorful quilts to put on the beds. So we just do the sheets and the blankets.
Oh, okay.
But this is the one bedroom in the house that actually has a closet. And is it true that at early years that they were charged on closets? They considered closets
I
a room?
think that might be a myth, but they just didn't have that many clothes, and
No.
so they would use wardrobes and such. So it just wasn't a real common thing.
So a dresser and an armoire would be all that you would need, and you wouldn't need
Absolutely.
all of the stuff that we have today. It would make the laundry a lot easier.
Yes, it would.
It would. I have a special story with this bed here. When my great-grandparents were married, they had a set of these as twins because, you know, husband and wife must sleep in twin beds
Oh, yes.
back in those days. And my grandmother was born in 1914, and she and her brother inherited those beds. So they grew up in those beds. So we have great-grandparents and my grandmother and her brother.
Wow. That's
Then
neat.
when my dad and my uncles were born, they slept in these beds. One of the beds went to my cousin, one stayed with us, and my brothers and I have all slept in this bed. And when I got married and started my family, I inherited the bed, and my 2 sons have slept in this bed.
Wow.
And now the bed is here to be enjoyed. So that's how many generations? 5?
That's a great story.
Yeah, so we love that. And I love furniture. It's a shame that I'm out of wall space because I would keep buying antique furniture because I
Yes,
love it.
yes, absolutely. Love the color of this room. We just painted our library very similar colors.
It's kind of pumpkin. This was Erin's magic.
Okay.
All of the bedrooms we kept the paint the same color because it really showed off the quilts really
Lucky
well.
for you, you could do that.
Yeah, they did. I think he was using this as an office at the time. Then we have a lovely seating area in here with another treadle machine over in the corner. And this is called a Martha Washington cabinet. So it has drawers, but the tabletop lifts up on both sides, and you would have your mending or your yarn for knitting or whatever it is in a Martha Washington cabinet. Antique malls, thrift shops.
Well, this is a spacious room, and I'm sure on a sunny day it gets a lot of light.
This is probably my favorite bedroom. Everybody likes the bedroom with the turret space, but this one looks right out onto this dogwood tree. And around April, with that dogwood tree in full bloom, it's just gorgeous. You're right up with the blossoms at this level. So this is what I think was the master bedroom at one time. The little door that's behind you, this green door, we kept the original paint on it.
Oh, neat.
It's a narrow little door, and it opens up into what we're using as the linen storage room.
Okay.
But there were closet rails in there at one time. So if this was the master, it makes sense that you'd go through that little door for your closet, your dressing room,
and who
whatever.
wouldn't want to have a tower in their master bedroom?
No, who wouldn't want a little seating area to sit and read a book or do some stitching or just chat with one of your friends while you're on retreat?
You can't tell me you were lucky enough to have this color here already.
This pea soup color, yeah, it was here.
It's great.
It's great. If you were just to look at it on a paint card, you'd think,
Yeah.
no. But Erin's magic. And something I have to say about the stitcheries that you see on the wall, I had many ladies contact me when we were preparing the house for quilt retreats, and they said, do you want these? If you don't take these, my kids don't want them. They're going to have to go to Goodwill. And the number of hours and talent and artistry that are stitched into each of these stitcheries is amazing. So I'm honored to have these in the house. I couldn't have done it. It takes a village. Yeah, it takes a village.
Wow, awesome.
The Fields house was actually the first old house that I ever fell in love with as a child. It had large bay windows, a rounded window in the gable. It had a tower, which there weren't many houses around that had towers. There was a large wraparound porch just overlooked Mount Wilson, and you would walk up to this large grand front door, and the doorbell was one of those that you could twist and it would ring. My aunt Anna, I called her Nana, would host these wonderful Christmas parties where she would invite family and friends and community, and people would play carols on the piano and guitars. My dad was one of them that would play the piano, and family would come in from out of town. This is my cousin Cindy, and I just loved dancing in her library/parlor, which is now the dining room at Quiltville. And Nana was always creative with her Christmas trees. As I remember, you would never see the same thing each year. And I just loved being with family during this time and visiting and showing off, apparently. That's probably where Rory gets it. And just being with friends and family at a nice Christmas season in a very beautiful house and enjoying the season with each other. There were always family members that would come out of town. This is my Aunt Gwen and Uncle Don. This is Nana and Cam at one of those parties. And my father actually grew up in the heyday of Mount Wilson. So he could go into the general store and use one of the Fields Woolen Mill coins to buy strawberry soda that was made in Mount Wilson. It was a really neat little spot when he was growing up, and he has so many fond memories of that, and of visiting the house and visiting Rosemont. We actually named our first short-term rental after Rosemont inside of our house, which just so happened to also be a Queen Anne style Victorian, and that just fit the first old house that I fell in love with when I was a child.
Places like Mount Wilson do not shout their history. They hold it quietly. A bend in the river, a mill that once turned wool into livelihood, a dam that brought electricity into a rural valley, a dealership that carried the automobile into the mountains, a house that stood watch over it all. The Fields family helped shape this community through industry, ambition, and adaptation. Their story includes prosperity and progress. It also includes loss, resilience, and memory. The Queen Anne house still rises above the creek. Its tower catches the same light it did more than a century ago. The rooms that once hosted conversations about business now host creativity and fellowship. The building has changed. The walls have listened to different kinds of voices, but the structure remains. Thank you so much for watching. If you love old houses as much as I do, then I invite you to follow along on all my platforms. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can follow along on Facebook for daily posts, and for a deep dive into history and real estate, you can subscribe to my newsletter. At theoldhouseagent.com, you're going to find valuable resources, regional history about Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee, plus all my current listings. All these likes, shares, and subscriptions to these videos help keep the stories of these places alive. I'm Daniel Shew, the Old House Agent, and I'll see you on the next video.